There's no way they can wrap up everything next week, right? There has to be like some 10th bonus episode they haven't told us about yet. Alright, so Wandavision episode 8 is now out. I'm going to talk about it. If you haven't seen it, make sure you watch it before watching this video. In this episode of WandaVision, Agatha is wondering where did Wanda get her powers from and how is she able to do what she's doing in Westview. And so this whole episode is basically like a filler of backstory for Wanda. We get to see her life at various stages, and I think it was really cool to see some of those gaps filled in. The first memory we see is her as a young child, and it's the moment that her parents die, and I was really happy to see that they kept in line with Pietro's story of Wanda and Pietro hiding under the table with the Stark bomb, just chilling there for a couple days and then waiting for it to go off. The second memory we see is Wanda's first experience and exposure to the Mind Stone while being experimented on by Hydra. In both of those memories, they kind of imply that Wanda's always had her powers. That's actually why the bomb never went off, is she maybe unknowingly cast some sort of spell on it. But that her exposure to the Mind Stone and the experimentation that Hydra did on her only amplified and made her powers more strong, more powerful. Then we see a really touching moment of her and Vision at the Avengers compound right after Pietro has died, and they just kind of have a heart-to-heart, and you can tell that that's kind of the moment where their relationship just kind of goes from. And then the next one, the big one, is when Wanda goes to SWORD headquarters to retrieve Vision's body. Now, we were told at the beginning of the series by whatever the guy's name is, the director of SWORD, the jerk guy, that Wanda busted in there, went to town, and then just took Vision's body and went to Westview, and then that's what she's been doing, is reanimating his body. However, in this memory, we see that that is not the case at all. Wanda goes in, she is kind of let in to see his body, and they're doing all kind of experiments on him. He's all like busted up into different pieces, and she kind of says her goodbyes, and then she leaves. She doesn't fight, she doesn't take his body. So someone's up to something nefarious, whether it's the whole SWORD organization or it's just the main guy. Again, I forget his name, but something's up, which we actually do find out in the post-credit scene. I'm not going to spoil that in this video, but the post-credit scene does kind of hint to what's coming next. And once Wanda leaves SWORD headquarters, she drives to Westview, and we actually get to see what Westview looked like before, she got there. We see some of the characters that we've seen throughout the show, and we find out that Wanda and Vision were going to have a house. They bought a house and were going to kind of live a life there. And then Wanda, in all her grief, she lets out this huge burst of energy, and that's where everything that has been happening in Westview starts to happen. So, and she even manifests a new vision. So the vision that we've been watching in the show is just one that she's created, which means that Wanda can not only manipulate things that already exist, but she can actually create new things just out of nothing. And to Agatha, this is big news, which is when at the end of the episode, we get the name drop, the Scarlet Witch. Agatha's like, "You're the Scarlet Witch." And that's big because up until this point in the MCU, that name had never been used. Obviously, fans know that Wanda is the Scarlet Witch, but they never used that name. So when they dropped that name at the end of the episode, that was kind of like a cool moment for Marvel fans who've been following along from the beginning. Like I said at the beginning of this video, there's apparently only one episode left in the season. I don't know how they're going to wrap up everything. They have quite a few plot lines to wrap up. Some of my friends and I, and I'm sure a lot of the internet as well, are theorizing that maybe there's actually 10 that they just haven't told us about, and they're going to drop the 10th one as a surprise in about 2 weeks. Regardless, though, even if next week is the season finale, I'm confident that they'll pull it off and that I'll enjoy it. At the beginning of this season, I was skeptical after the first 2 episodes, but they've just gotten better and better, so I trust the people at Marvel to wow us in the end. All right, so WandaVision episode number 8. Have you seen it? If so, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more.